Welcome to my channel. Subscribe and enjoy my new stories every day. It was a snowy Christmas Eve, and the warm glow from the fireplace cast playful shadows across the living room. Amanda and I had decided to make the holiday special for our kids by convincing my grandfather, a jovial old man with a natural affinity for theatrics, to dress up as Santa Claus. The children were beyond excited, their eyes wide with wonder every time Santa ho-ho-hoed through his fake white beard. The night was perfect. Snowflakes danced behind the windows, carols filled the air, and the kids' laughter resonated through the house as they opened their gifts. After tucking them into bed with visions of sugar plums dancing in their heads, Amanda kissed their foreheads and whispered a gentle goodnight. "Great job tonight, Santa," I chuckled, clapping my grandfather on the shoulder as he hung up his red suit. He winked, his usual twinkle momentarily shadowed by something I couldn't quite place. "I might stick around for a bit, if that's all right. Maybe help clean up," he offered. "Of course," I replied, though fatigue was beginning to weigh on my eyelids. Retiring to the den, I settled into my armchair, a glass of whiskey in hand to relax. The quiet was soothing, a stark contrast to the day's merriment. That's when I heard it, a faint giggle from upstairs, distinctly Amanda's. Curiosity piqued, I ascended the staircase, the sounds growing clearer with each step. The giggles led me to our bedroom door, slightly ajar. What I saw next would forever tarnish the memory of Christmas. There, in the dim light of our bedroom, was my grandfather, still partly in his Santa costume, with Amanda. My heart shattered as I watched the unthinkable unfold before my eyes. "How could you?" The words left my mouth before I could catch them, raw and laced with betrayal. Amanda turned, her face as white as the snow outside. "Jack, it's not what it looks like," she stammered, frantically wrapping herself in a sheet. "Isn't it?" I said coldly, unable to unsee the betrayal. My grandfather stood, embarrassment and regret etching his features. "Jack, I'm so sorry. I never meant for." "Save it," I cut him off, my voice low, every word a struggle against the anger and hurt welling inside me. I turned away, unable to bear the sight of them any longer. That night, after a confrontation filled with Amanda's pleas and my grandfather's apologies, I made my decision. The betrayal was too deep, the wound too raw. The next morning, under the gray, overcast sky, I consulted a divorce attorney. The process was quick, fueled by my resolve and Amanda's guilt. The divorce papers were signed with a cold finality. Amanda moved out shortly after, taking her belongings and the shadow of her betrayal with her. My grandfather tried to reach out, but the bridge between us had burned too brightly, too fiercely. As the snow continued to fall, blanketing the world in white, I watched from my window, the festive lights mocking me with their cheer. This Christmas had brought no joy, only the gift of betrayal, unwrapped brutally in the sanctity of my bedroom. Now, with my family torn apart, my heart hardened against the festive spirit, I plotted my next steps carefully. Amanda had taken more than just my trust, she had disrupted our lives, and for that, she would realize the full extent of my pain. As the fireplace crackled in the lonely night, my resolve crystallized into a chilling decision. I would rebuild, yes. But first, I would ensure Amanda understood the gravity of her betrayal. The game had just begun, and I was nowhere near done. The days following the divorce are harsh and long. My house feels more like a tomb than a home, the silence punctuated only by the ticking of the clock and the occasional crackle of the fireplace. Despite everything, I find myself missing Amanda's presence, but the betrayal festers deep, turning any fond memories into bitter reminders of her deception. One evening, as I sift through the remnants of our shared life, pictures, letters, and various trinkets, a plan begins to crystallize in my mind. If Amanda thought she could move on without consequence, she was sorely mistaken. My revenge would be meticulous and thorough. I start by reaching out to mutual friends, spinning a tale woven with just enough truth to be believable. You know, Amanda never really discussed her feelings, always kept things bottled up. It's no wonder things spiraled out of control, I mentioned casually during a phone call with one of our closest friends, planting seeds of doubt and reshaping her social landscape. Each call is a strike, each insinuation a blow to her character. By the end of the week, whispers of Amanda's instability and deceit are circling our friend group, her reputation slowly tarnishing. Meanwhile, I delve into the legal aspects, ensuring that the settlement leaves her with the bare minimum. My lawyer, a shrewd and unrelenting woman, takes care of the details. Consider it done, Jack. She won't see a dime more than what the court mandates, she assures me over the phone. One chilly morning, I decide it's time to confront my grandfather. I drive to his quaint little house on the edge of town, the journey fueled by a cocktail of anger and disappointment. He opens the door, his face a mask of regret. "Jack, I've been expecting you," he begins, stepping aside to let me in. "I just want to know one thing, Grandpa." "Why?" My voice is steady, but inside, I'm reeling. He sighs, a deep, mournful sound that fills the small living room. "I made a mistake, Jack. A terrible, unforgivable mistake. It was a moment of weakness. I'm so sorry." His apology hangs heavy in the air, but it does little to quench the rage burning inside me. A moment of weakness? I echo, my tone icy. "You've ruined everything, Grandpa. How can I ever trust anyone again?" He has no answers, only more apologies, each one more desperate than the last. I leave his house with nothing resolved, the rift between us now a chasm too wide to bridge. Back home, I sit in my office, surrounded by darkness, plotting my next move. Amanda must feel the weight of her actions, not just socially or financially, but personally. I begin drafting an email to her new employer, an anonymous tip about her unstable behavior and questionable ethics. It's a low blow, but my heart hardens against the guilt. As I click send, the screen's glow the only light in the room, a sense of satisfaction washes over me. But it's fleeting, replaced by a hollow emptiness. This path of retribution I've chosen is dark and lonely, yet I push forward, driven by the need for justice, or perhaps just revenge. Each step I take is calculated, each move strategic. Amanda will come to understand the full extent of the havoc she wrought, and I, in turn, will have to live with the choices I make now. The game is far from over, and the stakes are higher than ever. As the frost of winter sets in, the chill inside my heart hardens into something formidable. The actions I've set in motion against Amanda are just the beginning. Now, each day is a step on a path paved with cold, calculated moves designed to make her feel the sting of betrayal just as I did. One morning, I receive a call from a mutual friend, Lydia, her voice tinged with concern. "Jack, I've been hearing things about Amanda. Is everything okay between you two? The rumors are unsettling." I seize the opportunity, my words carefully measured. "Lydia, it's been tough. You know I've always tried to be fair, but after what happened, I just hope she gets the help she needs." The implication hangs heavy, suggesting more than just marital discord. Lydia pauses, the silence stretching. "I had no idea it was that bad," she finally murmurs, and I know my words have taken root, spreading the intended doubt about Amanda's stability. Emboldened, I push further, securing my role as the aggrieved party. "It's been hard to talk about. Thanks for understanding, Lydia." Hanging up, I feel a twinge of triumph, but it's quickly overshadowed by the emptiness of the victory. Later that week, I decide to escalate my actions. If the social and professional blows weren't enough, it was time to strike at her personal life. I find out through social media that Amanda has started seeing someone, a fact that fuels my next move. I craft careful, anonymous messages to her new partner, detailing her unfaithfulness and manipulative ways, each word a venomous dart aimed to sow discord. As I send the messages, my hand hovers over the send button, hesitating. It's a line once crossed, can't be uncrossed. With a shallow breath, I click send, the digital chime echoing like a gunshot in the quiet of my home office. Days pass, and the tension I feel mounts as I wait for the fallout. It comes in the form of another phone call, this time from Amanda herself. Her voice is shaky, almost broken. "Jack, why are you doing this? What are you telling people?" she pleads, the confusion and pain in her voice palpable. "I'm only sharing the truth, Amanda. Maybe now you understand a little of how I felt," I respond, my voice cold and detached. "You're ruining my life, Jack. I admit I made a mistake, but this is cruel. Don't you think it's enough?" There's desperation in her tone, a plea for mercy that I'm not ready to grant. "Was it enough when you betrayed me? You never thought about enough when you shattered our family," I snap back, the words laced with bitterness. The call ends with Amanda sobbing, her cries a stark contrast to the silence that follows. I sit, the weight of our conversation pressing down on me. The satisfaction I'd expected to feel is absent, replaced by a hollow echo of what used to be my heart. As night falls, I pour myself a drink, the whiskey burning down my throat. The house is silent, too silent, and I'm left with the ghosts of a past life and the stark realization of my own transformation. I've become a man driven by vengeance, each action dragging me further from who I used to be. With each step of retribution, I lose a piece of myself, but the path is set. The game of retribution is a lonely one, and as the intrigue deepens, so does my resolve to see it through to its bitter end. As the winter deepens, so does the chill of my own scheming. The culmination of my retribution against Amanda is drawing near, and I prepare for the final act. The web of lies and deception I've spun is complex, and I feel the edges of my own conscience blur as I delve deeper into this vindictive role. One bitterly cold evening, I receive an unexpected call from an old friend, Marcus, who's been out of touch for a while. "Jack, we need to talk," he begins, his tone grave. "It's about Amanda and everything that's been happening." Curiosity piqued and wary, I agree to meet him at a quiet local bar, a place where conversations can be had without the prying eyes of familiar faces. As I sit across from Marcus, the dim light casting shadows on his concerned face, he lays out documents and photos in front of me. "Jack, I've been doing some digging after hearing all these rumors. You need to see this." The documents he presents are baffling: bank statements, private messages, and more, all leading to an unimaginable revelation. My grandfather had been manipulated into the affair with Amanda, coerced by a rival of mine, someone from my past business dealings who'd vowed to get back at me through any means necessary. Amanda was just a pawn in a much larger game of corporate and personal revenge. I feel the floor shift beneath me as the implications sink in. The realization that my vengeance was misdirected unleashes a new kind of fury within me. "Marcus, how certain are you about this?" "Absolutely certain. I've had these verified by a private investigator. This isn't just about a marital affair, Jack. It's much bigger." Fueled by this new information, my plan shifts. The true target of my retribution changes, and with a cold resolve, I begin to plot against the real architect of my misery. Amanda, though not innocent, was not the mastermind I had believed her to be. Over the next few days, I orchestrate a meeting with the man behind it all, under the guise of a business negotiation. He walks into the conference room, unaware of my knowledge, a smug smile playing on his lips. It fades when he sees the documents Marcus provided spread out on the table. "What is this, Jack?" he stammers, his composure slipping. "Game over," I say quietly, watching as he absorbs the extent of my knowledge. "You tried to ruin me through my family. Now, it's your turn to lose everything." The confrontation is tense, with threats lobbed from his side, but I stand firm. With the evidence of his meddling, his financial and personal ruin is inevitable. My network of contacts ensures that his career and reputation face the kind of devastation he intended for me. As for Amanda, our final encounter is quieter. I meet her in a coffee shop, the hum of the quiet chatter around us a stark contrast to the stormy conversations of our past. I slide the evidence across to her, her eyes widening as she understands her role as a pawn. "Jack, I had no idea," she whispers, tears in her eyes. "I know. And I played into it, too. I thought I was avenging my heart, but I was just as blind, I admit, the bitterness of my own actions tasting sour." We part ways that day, the deceit and manipulations laid bare, our paths forever diverged. My revenge is complete, but it brings no joy, only the heavy burden of regret and what-ifs. In the solitude of my victory, I realize the cost of such a path. The game of retribution has ended, but the pieces, scattered and broken, remind me that some wins are indistinguishable from losses. As I look out over the frost-bitten landscape, the first flakes of snow begin to fall, blanketing the world in white, perhaps offering a clean slate that I, too, might one day find.